Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, earlier today, President Donald J. Trump and his wife Melania Trump said farewell to the White House as they left in a helicopter heading toward Andrews Air Force Base. When they arrived there today, we'll see a short speech, a few words from that speech right now. If you want to cue that up so that we can see the Air Force Base, how they came and they gave a short speech to the American citizens and people that were waiting there at the Andrews Air Force Base to bid them farewell. Okay, we'll give them a moment to cue that up. Well, as they were getting ready to say their farewells, of course, the Biden family, um, President-elect Joe Biden and his wife Dr. Jill Biden, were just getting seated and getting ready to be sworn in. Him and Vice President Kamala Harris as President and Vice President of the United States of America, the greatest nation in the world. Okay, so we come today to celebrate, as we do for every presidential inauguration, setting all old things aside and realizing President Joseph R. Biden will be president to all in this country in which we live. He must not be divisive, but come to unify this country. If we continue to attack on President Trump and his supporters, controversy will loom over the Biden administration as well for the next 4 years. We must remember how this country was started and how it change came about in the Civil War and in the 19th century. If we don't want it repeated, the fact of the matter is this country is just that, divided right now. And President Biden, you are in charge. So just saying unify or being united will not work. You must actually do it. Just as President Donald J. Trump came into office and he did what he was called to do, you must also do as well. Trump was one man who tried to take down the swamp. He was able to do some good and change a lot from for now. It is up to the Biden administration to retain the good and stop fighting against the American people. We are here to stay the conservative voice. We are here to stay. The opposition voice needs to be heard because without it, we do not have a United States of America, or nor do we have a constitution. I believe if the president does not end this now, it will haunt him for the next 4 years. I'm talking about this sham impeachment that has been put together once again by Nancy Pelosi. There's another person in the office, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is presenting some articles as well in the coming days. That has already been proven. But as far as the charges against President Trump, it's already been revealed that they are pretty much a lie. If it is true of those who attacked the Capitol, be it Trump supporters or BLM or Antifa, who have confessed to this action, of course. Now, you're going to accuse the President Trump of inciting a riot when people were already planning several days before that event there at the Capitol to come in and disrupt it. But it is because we are tired of being lied to. The American people are tired of being lied to. Well, we're going to take a short break right now, but we'll be right back with you here on the Black Conservative Voice, and I'm David Colbert. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, The Voice of Truth. So let's run some excerpts from that speech, President Trump's goodbye, farewell.
Thank you very much. And we love you, and I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart. This has been an incredible 4 years. We've accomplished so much together. I want to thank all of my family and my friends and my staff and so many other people for being here. I want to thank you for your effort, your hard work. People have no idea how hard this family worked. They worked, and they worked for you. They could have had a much. Our military is thrilled. We also got tax cuts, the largest tax cut and reform in the history of our country by far. I hope they don't raise your taxes. But if they do, I told you so. And if you look at the regulations, which I consider the regulation cuts to be maybe even more important, that's why we have such good and have had such good job numbers. The job numbers have been absolutely incredible. When we started, had we not been hit by the pandemic, we would have had numbers that would never have been seen. Already our numbers are the best ever. If you look at what happened until February a year ago, our numbers were at a level that nobody had ever seen before. And even now, we really built it twice. We got hit. Nobody blames us for that. The whole world got hit, and then we built it again. And now the stock market is actually substantially higher than it was at its higher point prior to the pandemic. So it's really, you could say we built it twice. And you're going to see incredible numbers start coming in if everything is sort of left alone. Be careful. Very complex. Be careful. But you're going to see some incredible things happening. And remember us when you see these things happening, if you would. Remember us, because I'm looking at elements of our economy that are set to be a rocket ship up. It's a rocket ship up. We have the greatest country in the world. We have the greatest economy in the world. And as bad as the pandemic was, we were hit so hard, just like the entire world was hit so hard. Places that thought they got away with it didn't get away with it. They're suffering right now. We did something that is really considered a medical miracle. They're calling it a miracle, and that was the vaccine. We got the vaccine developed in 9 months instead of 9 years or 5 years or 10 years or a long time. It was supposed to take a long time, many, many years to develop a vaccine. We have 2 out. We have another one coming almost immediately, and it really is a great achievement. So you should start to see really good numbers over the next few months. I think you're going to see those numbers really skyrocket downward. And I can only say this, we have worked hard. We've left it all, as the athletes would say, we've left it all in the field. We don't have to come and say, we'll never say in a month when we're sitting in Florida, we're not going to be looking at each other and saying, you know, if we only worked a little bit harder, you can't work harder. And we had a lot of obstacles, and we went through the obstacles. And we just got 75 million votes, and that's a record in the history of sitting presidents. That's an all-time record by a lot, by many millions in the history of sitting presidents. It's been really just an honor. One of the things we're very, very proud of is the selection of almost 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices. That's a very big number. That's a record-setting number. And so we've done a lot, and there's still things to do. The first thing we have to do is pay our respects and our love to the incredible people and families who suffered so gravely from the China virus. It's a horrible thing that was put onto the world. We all know where it came from, but it's a horrible, horrible thing. So be very careful. Be very, very careful. But we want to pay great love to all of the people that have suffered, including families who have suffered so gravely. So with that, I just want to say you are amazing people. This is a great, great country. It is my greatest honor and privilege to have been your president. I will always fight for you. I will be watching, I will be listening, and I will tell you that the future of this country has never been better. I wish the new administration great luck and great success. I think they'll have great success. They have the foundation to do something really spectacular. And again, we put it in a position like it's never been before, despite the worst plague to hit since leaving. I want to thank our Vice President, Mike Pence, all of the people that we worked with to put.
Thank you. Thank you, former President Donald J. Trump, for that fond farewell. We love you here at CTM News. We will miss you and your policies. You said it correctly. You were a very hard-working president. I, in my entire life, have never seen a president work so hard as you did. And we'd like to say farewell also to First Lady Melania Trump and for all the good work she did with the children in this nation. We thank you. When I was coming up, we would hear a lot about the Democrat Party. We would hear a lot from Democrat politicians. And when I was a young boy, the politicians also including some people like the Dallas Andros, which was Nancy Pelosi's family. They would tell us all that they were going to do good things in our community, and pretty much they never did. Some blacks in this country now have forgotten, but I believe that those of us who work for a living have always been conservative. But those that are constantly seeking handouts from the government continue to vote for the Democrat Party to keep themselves in bondage to a corrupt government system that wants to keep them in bondage through inspiring them to take handouts. While they need to be living and creating work and stuff for themselves, they need to create their businesses. This country was founded on free enterprise. And the communist governments do not want you to have free enterprise. Matter of fact, in Cuba and some other areas, if you get too much money or your company is doing too well, they will take it from you. But these politicians, for years, have taken our taxpayer dollars, given us barely anything, and have lived lavishly on our hard-earned money through our work. Talk about taxation. President Trump mentioned that, how he had so many tax cuts that he brought through. Now, President Biden has said in earlier times, I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he said that he was going to increase taxes. Trump's policy supported those in America who wanted to work and stand on their own two feet, not people who wanted to sit around and pretty much do nothing. The Democrats are continuing with their impeachment of President Donald J. Trump. I heard some mainstream media and NBC, one of them, say he did not pardon himself. Why should he pardon himself? He wasn't guilty of anything. He was not guilty of inciting insurrection, even though you keep bringing this garbage out. According to even people in our government, the DOJ, the FBI, said clearly that Antifa and BLM had already planned on doing something there at the U.S. Capitol. They had already planned that. I challenge you to go and look at some of the videos. Some of the videos of police were cordial to the people that were even coming into the Capitol after the Capitol was breached. It don't seem like, and most of those were Trump supporters who were just walking in and walking through. Didn't seem to be any problem, but they didn't put the camera on that. They kept showing you the violence that went on when they first entered the Capitol. He didn't pardon himself because as I said earlier, he wasn't guilty of anything. But many people over the history, and I'll say this, you might not agree with me, but I'm going to say it anyway. I said it earlier on the other program on the Capitol Talk about Jesus. Jesus came and died for our sins. I am a pastor. So he came and died for our sins. He gave his life for our sins. But did anybody love him? No. He came into a world that he created, but they didn't love him. What did they do? They killed him. They crucified him for taking away what was going to cause us to spend an eternity apart from him, our sin. And we see this sin is very prevalent even now today. When Martin Luther King came along, we celebrated his birthday recently. When he came along, they took him up to a certain point. But when he got past that point, and that point is when he started questioning the government and the way they did things, and he had such a huge following, he was gone as well. And even President Donald J. Trump, nobody ever thinks about anything from the point of sacrifice. The scripture says that Jesus gave up heaven to come here and help us. Well, Donald Trump is not Jesus, but he gave up $1 billion life to celebrating. He actually lost money. But when he came into this country as our president, he did not shrink back. He worked as hard as he would for his own self, and he did not take any money. He gave his salary to charity. But he came here for the American people. He came here so that we may have a voice. You can see it right now, even in our medias and our social medias. They're trying to silence conservative speech. That has not changed people. But I do hold up President Joe Biden as he did mention the fact that we need to hear both sides of the point or whatever's going on. He was encouraging us through his speech not to silence the other side of the aisle, to allow them to get their point out as well, which tells me he doesn't agree with social media either for blocking conservative speech. I've been a member of the Republican Party for most of my adult life, and I'm asking you to stop this impeachment on the Senate floor. This foolishness needs to end. Let Joe Biden show us what he can do as president. But don't keep attacking the old administration, because what you're going to do is cause more to follow President Trump, even though he's gone. When the things come out showing what has been done to him, truths that came out, then people will say, well, look, maybe we got to go follow behind President Trump or former President Trump. I believe if you want to move towards unity in this country, we need to let prior administration who represented the America First movement go in peace, or you will create more division in our country, and possibly the 75 million people that you attacked may increase to about another 100 million when President Trump's party returns in 2024 to run again for office. So we need to stop this foolishness, and we need to get away from all these things. We're going to take a short break right now. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, Joe Biden had a good speechwriter. I don't know who the speechwriter is, but he wrote a really good speech. But was he speaking what he truthfully is going to do, or what he will do as his administration has just begun? He knows the world is watching. He spoke of today's challenges and tomorrow's challenges. The Democrats are great orators, but lousy at carrying out their word. They talk great, they bring out a great point, but they're lousy at keeping their word. So back to Washington, as usual, pre-Trump. So Trump came in, he fought against the swamp, he accomplished a few things, and I pray that they continue to allow those things to go forward, because those things were good things to this country and to the people in the world around us. The Abraham Accord, the USMCA, those things that brought this nation together with other nations are fracking in our country. The fact that we became energy independent under Donald J. Trump. President Biden, don't steal that away from the American people. If you destroyed fracking in this country, you will destroy thousands upon thousands of jobs and people who are depending on these jobs for their livelihood. Please don't attack the American people as many Democrat politicians have done in prior years. He also mentioned systemic racism, which I told you before. My viewpoint of that is this: the Democrats are systemic racists. The reason why I say it is because every opportunity you got, every opportunity that comes up, most racists bring that very point up, that they are racist. When they start pointing the finger at other people for being racist. This is not a racist nation. I don't care what they say. This nation may have many prejudices that are going on in it, but it is not a racist nation overall. There's unity. Here in the Houston area, we've seen unity amongst blacks and whites and Hispanics and Asians. So how can you say the whole country is racist? No, it is not. This systemic racism and this idea is foolish. I pray that they do not continue to push this foolishness to the American people and especially to our children. So please teach your children to be educated, teach them the Constitution of the United States of America, and cause them to understand the freedoms that they have been given through our forefathers. I believe the Democrat Party is going to regret placing Joe Biden in office because I believe at his core, he is also a moderate. They said it before. He's a moderate. So let the games begin. I believe he's not going to just lay back and let his party puppet him, as some have said. I don't believe he will. The man is a tough man. He's a tough man. I'm telling you that right now. Maybe he's had illnesses. Maybe things have put him back. Maybe he said some foolish things out of his mouth during the election process and the running as a candidate for president. But I will tell you this: what I've seen in Joe Biden tells me that he's not going to just lay down and take whatever the Democrat machine or the deep state says to him either. Because we look at the fact that Obama didn't either. Obama had his fuss and his fight with his own party too as well when they tried to stop his moderate moves. But President Biden said something, and I'm going to focus on this for a minute because he did say something. But like I said, he was pushing for racism too, which is not right. He was talking about wrong, and really he didn't speak anything about the wrongs that have gone on in his life. We look to hear about those things later on because we were denied that in the election process in November. We weren't allowed to hear the case that was taken up by the DOJ against Hunter Biden. Without unity, he said in his speech, there is no peace. And that's correct. That's correct, President Biden. Without unity, there is no peace. Stop your party from this sham impeachment. You need to start afresh, Mr. Biden, not destruction of our American freedoms of speech. He spoke of manufactured facts. This is interesting because we've seen with the Democrat Party, this happens all too often. Manufactured facts. This is misinformation. I think that was a nervy point that he brought up. We see that the lie is the rule of law in this country. If you speak in the media, you tell a lie, you no longer have to ask for forgiveness or apologize to the people. You just let the lie just keep running on and on. He spoke of women's right to vote. I don't know if you remember when the women's right to vote was being challenged, a Democrat, listen to this. This is the truth. This is a matter of history. A Democrat poll watcher had the lady, one of the ladies ahead of this movement, he had her arrested for voting and breaking the law for women to vote. This same woman, listen to me, this is the truth. And this was proven on the last, what was July, July 19th, August 19th, but the day when they celebrated the woman's right to vote being established. That man had that woman arrested. But do you realize that President Donald J. Trump was the first president who even looked at that? Even though many have spoken out on women's right to vote, he pardoned the lady. Well, she's gone now, of course, but he pardoned her, which I'm sure her family appreciated, and gave her a pardon, since we're talking about pardons and doing his last day of pardon. But he pardoned her so that she is no longer considered a criminal for breaking the law by voting as a woman in the polls. Pointed out, need you once again, by a poll watcher. Now, that poll watcher says clearly in the history he was Democrat. So why? We're not going to go into that. Now, I won't go into that because that's water under the bridge. But when the next election comes up, we need to remember these things. And Lord willing, I'll be right here to help you remember it. He said we need to have truth when still covering up lies of his own. We need truth, Mr. Biden. Tell us the truth. Don't cause us to have to bring it out in the public and have leaks and stuff like that. Bring it out so that people can hear the truth from your own mouth. He says we need to end. Listen to this. I want you to hear this. He said we need to end the uncivil war between conservative versus liberal, conservative speech versus liberal speech. He's saying we need to be able to speak. If we're the American people, we have a right to our viewpoint and the right to be heard. He said it. He said it himself. And to me, that is a clarion call to social media to stop trying to cover up conservative speech. Now, I'm sure they're going to release this conservative speech and they will go back to what they used to always say before when we told the truth before. It's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, right. But social media needs to stop blocking conservative speech. We have a right to be able to express ourselves. Now, I'm not very proud of this situation. This is one of the reasons why I stand for a limitation on presidential offices, which means that if the president is given 8 years to be in the office, even though reelected, I believe that same thing should fall on the vice president. If they've had their 8 years, they do not need to be returning to the White House. And this is the reason why. He put Dennis McDonald, who served as President Obama's chief of staff. If I was President Biden, I would have did all I could to avoid the prior administration's leaders. Because to me, it looks like we're bringing the same administration back. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, I applaud President Obama on his selection of Alejandro Mayorkas, Home Security Secretary. The reason why is this. Mayorkas knows what it is to live in a socialist country. He knows what it is to live in a communist nation, and I pray he shares that with the American people when we hear his addresses in public, so that they will understand what we are pushing in this country. You still have some democratic socialists in the cabinets of the Senate and the Congress. So we need to get this mess straightened out. Now, I'm said about all I'm going to say right now, and we're just going to leave it at that. I do thank you for joining us here at the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. And Lord willing, we'll be back at you once again tomorrow with another episode of the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the CTM News Network, the Voice of Truth. Please go to our YouTube channel and do subscribe. And you want to click on that bell so that whenever we have a program come on, that you will receive notification. We do now have a new political-based program now called Capital Talk, hosted by Raina Rose. And so we want to also patronize that show as well, because she's doing a great job there. We love you, Raina, and we just hope that things will continue on. We also love you, Charles Lingerfeld, who's also here with his program. I'm not sure what the name of that program is, but hey, we know you, Charles. We love you. And we want to just thank you all for joining us here on this Inauguration Day 2021. We want to congratulate President Joseph Robinette Biden on his inauguration, and also Vice President Kamala Harris on being installed as or inaugurated as President and Vice President of these United States of America. Don't forget the people of America. Don't forget to put America first. We are America's people. The government itself, under the Declaration of Independence, was created to represent the people and who are governed, not everybody else. We need to represent the American people. You've been trusted, President Biden and Vice President Harris, you've been trusted with our American freedoms to protect them. And I don't even know if I heard, I guess I didn't hear this swearing in. You also been sworn to protect the Constitution of these United States of America, which means you got to protect our right to free speech, our right to keep and bear arms, and our right that have many rights under the Constitution. Read the Constitution. Don't try to change what's been set up in this country to protect its people and its posterity. Please don't do that, because I, for one, will come out against you. I will use whatever means I have with me through free speech. If you don't try to block it, I'm hoping that doesn't happen, because when you block free speech, you're not only blocking the speech of the Republican Party or the conservatives, you're blocking your own speech. We can't have a one-sided government. The Democrats have a right to speak, but so do the Republicans. I do want to see more unity in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. Nobody telling somebody shut up and be quiet because I want to say what I want to say, and not allowing people to get their points across, asking questions and not listening to the answer. Please, Democrats, don't do that. You do that a lot. You ask people questions and you don't allow them to answer the question. You did it with Amy Coney Barrett when she came before you. Please, stop that. If you were with your parents, they would tell you that's rude. It's very rude. It's disrespectful. So we need to stop seeing things like that in this country, because it puts a bad example for our children as well. They'll feel like they can't say nothing. They feel like they have no right to speak. And every time they open their mouth, they're told to shut up. Well, once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the Voice of Truth. I want to say what I always like to say to you. God bless you. God bless America, and God bless the world. Until next time, this is David Colbert on the CTM News Network, the Black Conservative Voice, saying good day and God bless.